I've got to start this episode out by saying that if you're watching this before the 9th of February 2021 and you live in Spalding, Pike, Upson, or Fayette County, Georgia, there's still time to go vote for district attorney. This is a very important election and it's on February 9th. I made a whole episode about it, which will be linked down below. Alright, let's get to it. Hi, I'm Zachary Exum and welcome to Left Behind. Today's episode is about unions and why they are the most important part of any pro-worker movement. So what is a union? I'll make it as easy as possible and read to you straight from Wikipedia. A trade union, or a labor union in American English, often simply called a union, is an organization of workers who have come together to achieve many common goals, such as protecting the integrity of their trade, improving safety standards, and attaining better wages, benefits such as vacation, healthcare, and retirement, and working conditions through the increased bargaining power wielded by the creation of a monopoly of the workers. Trade unions typically fund the formal organization, head office, and legal team functions of the trade union through regular fees or union dues. The delegate staff of the trade union representation in the workforce are made up of workplace volunteers who are appointed by members in democratic elections. To break it down, a union is an organization run by workers within a certain trade that use their collective bargaining power to ensure that they are treated fairly by the corporations and companies that they work for. The reason unions work is that it ensures that all workers understand the conditions they face and are on the same page moving forward. The union dues give them a budget to be able to more effectively organize, fundraise, and support the union members if they go on strike or something. An effective strike is nearly impossible without a union, and without the ability to strike, why would a corporation ever listen to their workers? Who decides how unions operate? Well, it varies from union to union, but the members typically elect staff to handle the organizing, regulation, and decision-making, and typically most of the decision-making is also voted on by the members to make sure everyone's voice is heard. The right to unionize was a long, hard fight, and after workers got it, they loved it. It's only in recent decades that union membership has declined sharply due to a variety of factors, but all leading back to capitalist oppression of the working class. In the 1950s, a third of U.S. workers were unionized, but during Ronald Reagan's administration, the working class was sold out to big corporations, and since then, it's been getting harder and harder to join unions. This has directly led to the decline in wages of the middle class.
The wealthy and big corporations continued to take a larger share of the nation's wealth while workers were left behind.
Hey, that's the name of the show. Now only 1 in 10 workers are part of a union, and the economy feels it. By the way, when I say the economy, I'm not talking about the economy of rich people, which many media personalities and politicians talk about. You know, stock market and whatnot. I'm talking about what it's like to live as a lower or middle class citizen, a regular person. How much is gas, milk, healthcare, and how much do you make every year compared to how much you work? Politicians and corporate leaders lie to you about the effectiveness of unions because it directly benefits their profit margins. It's part of the old trickle-down economics scheme, which if you think works, I don't know if I can help you. Do your own research on that one. If you think wealth will trickle down, you're a cuck. It's been 70 years and it still hasn't trickled down. Why don't you stop letting corporations fuck your wife and do something to actually better your life? 'Cause you're playing yourself. If you're not unionized, see if you can get unionized. Unfortunately, many places don't already have unions. I worked at Walmart for a short period of time and tried to join the United Food and Commercial Workers Union, UFCW, a union for grocery store workers around the world, but found out that Walmart doesn't allow their employees to unionize. Walmart has the audacity to come into local economies and destroy small businesses, just to then throw their workers under the bus by not letting them unionize. It's disgusting. Look at this. What a disgrace. So I quit. Why risk my life and the lives of my family working during a deadly pandemic just to whore my body out to a corporation that doesn't care about their workers? It ain't gonna be me. Many businesses won't let their workers unionize, or at least try to prevent it from happening. But something big is about to happen in Alabama that I'm hoping will start to turn the tides. On February 8th, Amazon workers in Bessemer, Alabama begin to vote on whether or not they should unionize. Amazon repeatedly tried to stop this, but thankfully, the National Labor Relations Board, NLRB, stepped in and said the workers have the right to do this. An article about how this debacle went down will be in the description if you want to know more. The last unionization effort at Amazon was 7 years ago. They didn't get enough votes to actually be able to start one, though. Why wouldn't employees want to unionize? Well, the economic right, which includes liberals, spread lies about how unions hurt workers by hurting the company. But they are just that, lies. Unions do nothing but help ensure workers are treated fairly and paid well, which ultimately helps the economy and doesn't hurt the company. It does hurt the profit margin, but never enough to actually make them lose money. Not unionizing only hurts workers while giving the owners of the company more money. Whether there's a union or not, the company will still profit. Amazon is currently doing everything they can to convince their workers in Bessemer not to vote yes. And their main argument is that they'll have to pay union dues. It's true that this may mean the workers have a brief decrease in profit. Very quickly that will be paid back to them with better wages, safety precautions, and benefits. The money gained from unions always pays off the dues and more, whether it be from higher wages, benefits, and/or by helping the economy in general. So what can you do if your workplace doesn't have a union? There's a great video deep diving into how to unionize your workplace or trade by Another Slice that will be linked in the description. But I'll give a quick summary. There's an easy to remember method called AEIOU, which stands for agitate, educate, inoculate, organize, and unionize. That's agitate, educate, inoculate, organize, and unionize. The agitation phase is more like gathering information. This is where you listen to the concerns of your coworkers and try to figure out who might be interested in unionizing or at least improving the workplace conditions. Who can you trust? Also, this is a good time to figure out the safest times and places to discuss unionization efforts, since companies will fire you for organizing, even though it's illegal to do so. They do this because it's usually cheaper for the company to pay off a fine in court than pay their workers more. That, and a lot of times, the justice system will look the other way, or the company can write it off as workplace misconduct. Next, the education phase. The education phase is where you educate the coworkers you trust on the ways to organize a union and how effective unions are. During these first two stages, you'll want to reach out to a union and discuss the most effective methods for your specific situation with a legit union organizer. The inoculation phase is like union busting. You inform the coworkers that you've built up a repertoire with on this issue, or even a committee, about the ways the company will try to undermine your efforts or misinform you. This stage will prepare them for the misinformation campaigns and rounds of firings that will happen as this effort continues. The organizing phase is where you actually take action against the company. Once you have a fully formed committee of workers, you can organize direct action such as strategic email complaints, petitions for better workplace conditions, or at the extreme, a strike. These are risky measures, but it's the collective bargaining power of an organized group that will allow you to use these tactics to gain better treatment. Once you have sufficient leverage in your workplace and think you'll be able to win an election on unionization, it's time to unionize by contacting corporate, the NLRB, and the union that you'd like to be a part of. You have the right to vote on unionization. The company can't stop you from doing that, but what they can do is fire you. Convince workers to turn on each other and against the unionization effort, and make it as difficult as possible to vote. This is why you must be sure that you have enough support in your workplace before trying, and why privacy is your #1 friend in this effort. If you succeed, the payoff will be more than worth the effort. For you, your coworkers, and workers in all trades to come. The workforce in this country has successfully unionized before, and we cannot let those efforts be lost and lose our rights, because once they're lost, it's hell to get them back. Thank you. I wish you all a pleasant downfall of capitalism and a merry unionization effort.